In this lesson, we'll finish building our character's mouth. Alright, so in the previous lesson we had begun kind of building some of the preliminary shapes for our character's mouth here. Now I've gone ahead and chosen kind of a pink here for her lipstick, and we're going to go ahead and continue building our character's mouth. So let's go ahead and jump into outline mode and see what's next. Now we have these nice shadows near the corners of her mouth where the upper lip is casting a shadow on kind of the corners of the lower lip. So let's go ahead and begin with those shadows here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my pencil tool here, and let's just go ahead and draw in this shape. I'm just going to kind of draw this shape in just like so. And we'll draw in another shape over here. Now these are going to be shapes that are tucked up underneath sort of the upper lip here. So I'm not really too concerned about kind of what's going on up in this area right here. So let's go ahead and jump out of outline mode here and select both of those two shapes. We need to jump into outline mode to select this one here. There we go. And let's go ahead and give those a different color. Let's go ahead and give those actually a radial gradient here. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and give this color stop kind of this pink color here, and then we'll come in and set a custom color here for this color stop. So let's come in and look at our HSB sliders, and let's go ahead and give this kind of a cool burgundy type color here. So we'll saturate that a little bit more, sort of like that for right now, and then we'll come over here and drop the opacity on this color stop right here. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and grab our gradient tool by hitting G on our keyboard. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and reverse these gradients here. Sort of like that. And we'll go ahead and adjust that midpoint so we get a little bit more of that dark center. We'll come in and adjust the positioning for these. Let's go ahead and set these over to multiply as well. You know, I'm working with these here, and let's go ahead and just maybe try these with a linear gradient rather than a radial gradient here. Let's do something like that. We'll come over and grab this one and adjust that gradient some. Let's go ahead and grab our upper lip and bring that all the way to the front here. Alright, great. So that's looking pretty good. Let's come in and just kind of tweak these up just a little bit here. I'm going to actually come in and drag this shape a little bit off the teeth. It looks like we've got that a little bit close to our teeth over here. And let's grab our gradient tool again. Just kind of adjust this gradient here, making sure that we get this nice clean gradient. That looks pretty good. And let's come over here and adjust this one a little as well. And we'll get that shape off that tooth there. And let's zoom out on that. That's looking pretty good here, but I tell you what, there's actually some more shadows that we're missing. If we look here in the outline mode, let's go ahead and hide some of these shapes. Let's go ahead and just select all these shapes here, and we'll Control 3 to hide those. There's actually a subtle little shadow on the underside of the upper lip here as well. So let's go ahead and see if we can't create that. We'll bring our shapes back here, jump out of outline mode, and I'm going to come in here with my pencil tool. And let's just kind of draw in this shadow. Sort of like that. Actually, let's make sure we don't have that shape selected here. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and grab both this shape. Actually, let's just give this shape a color for right now. Let's just color it like that. We'll copy the upper lip, and let's go ahead and intersect those. Paste back in our upper lip. Send that back one, and now we've got this shape right here that we can use for the shadow. So we'll go ahead and just use our eyedropper tool by hitting I and sample this shadow down below. Then we'll grab our gradient tool here, and let's just redraw that gradient. Something like that. Just kind of reposition that around, get a nice smooth gradient underneath that upper lip there. I may come in and tweak that here in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and create that shadow on the other side here. Let's come in here and just pencil that in, just like so. And let's undo that here. Let's try that one more time. I want to get that all the way over here to the corner. There we go. Might smooth that out some. And we'll go ahead and grab both these two shapes and intersect those again. And then paste back in our upper lip and send it backwards one time. And let's come in and grab that new shape here. And again, we'll use our eyedropper tool to sample that gradient that we've already created. And we'll just kind of position that around where it needs to be. Just sort of like that. Maybe rotate that just a little bit. And we'll zoom out on that. Alright, great. Looks like we need to send our lip back one more time to get that other shadow in place. But you can see here we've kind of placed in those shadows underneath the upper lip. So I may come in and tweak those shadows up just a little bit in between lessons, but I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a look at this lower lip here. There's a lot of body here in this lower lip, and it's really not being communicated with this one flat color of pink. So if we come in here and jump into outline mode, you can see there's some real subtle gradation in the lip color here, but even before we get to this specular highlight right here. So let's go ahead and try and create that. Let's jump out of outline mode. Let's grab our pencil tool, and I'm just going to draw in kind of a bean shape right here on our lower lip. Let's go ahead and hit Tab so we can get a little bit more screen real estate. And we'll go ahead and just kind of draw in a shape similar to that right there. Smooth out this corner over here. Maybe the rest of this shape a little bit. And let me come in and grab this. I'm going to just kind of even this shape out just a little bit here. Alright, so we've got this bean shape here that we've just drawn with our pencil tool. And we want to create kind of a nice subtle gradation here inside this shape. So, you know, if we look at the actual photograph underneath, this gradation should come down actually probably a little further than we've got it here. So I want to kind of come in, just bring this down just a little bit further here. And we'll go ahead and grab this side, bring it down just a little bit. Alright, that looks pretty good. So let's jump out of outline mode here, and let's go ahead and apply kind of the same color. We'll just use our eyedropper tool to sample that, but I'm going to actually hit Tab here and come over to my color panel because I want to lighten this up. I want to desaturate it a little bit and adjust the brightness. I'm going to get that adjusted just a little bit here. Alright, great. So now if you remember with kind of the shadow that we had right here underneath the nose, we had kind of a unique shape that we needed to apply some gradation to. So rather than try and handle the gradation on this shape with either a linear or a radial gradient, I'm going to come over here and grab my gradient mesh tool. And I'm just simply going to come in and click maybe once here. Actually, let's do that again. Let's go ahead and click once in the center here, and then I'll click once on the center of this area right over here. So we get kind of a plus sign right through the center of this shape. And then I can come in and adjust this just a little bit here. Kind of get the perspective right on that so that this shape actually starts to, the mesh that we've laid on top of it starts to actually take on kind of the shape of the object that we've drawn here. Now I'm holding Shift as I drag these mesh points around just to slide them around the shape here. And that's actually looking pretty good. So we've got kind of the edges of this shape. Now we can come in and adjust the opacity for individual points on our mesh. So we'll come in and maybe adjust the opacity here. Maybe come in and do the same thing up here. Now notice here that adjusting the opacity for just those two mesh points, we've actually almost completely lost that pink. So I'm going to come in and actually take a look here at the Bezier handles for those two mesh points. Let's go ahead and pull these back some, and then stretch the center points Beziers out some. going to extend that color just a little bit here. And we'll come over here. Let's grab this mesh point and see what happens if we drop the opacity on that one here. Looks like we're almost completely losing that color. I don't want to do that. I tell you what, instead, let's see if we can't maybe come over here and sample some of the colors around. Let's go ahead and sample there, sample there, sample there, and let's go ahead and grab that anchor point up here. So we've kind of sampled some of the colors on the lip around, instead of adjusting the opacity here. Now, I may actually come in here and actually adjust the coloration of these 3 points around the center of this shape, just to give them a little bit more of a vibrant pink color. Let's come in here and grab those HSB sliders, and we'll just drop the saturation and bump the brightness even a little bit more here. Alright, so we've kind of created this custom shape. I'm going to go ahead and send that backwards a few times to get that behind our shadows. Alright, great. So I'm actually going to come in at this point, and let's go ahead and jump into outline mode and create another custom shape here with our pencil tool. I'm going to come in and draw in this shape sort of like this. And we'll smooth that out some. Actually, let's go ahead and draw that one more time. Smoothing that out just a little bit here. Alright, great. So we're going to come in and apply that same color of pink to this. And let's jump over here to our transparency panel and change this over to screen. And then we'll drop the opacity about to 50% or so. Alright, so we've got that nice highlight there, which, you know, we can smooth this out and adjust this shape a little bit in between lessons if we need to. But we've got most of the nice detail captured there. Now, at this point, as sort of a finishing touch here for the mouth, what I'd like to go ahead and do is, let's jump into outline mode here, and notice here we've got this nice specular highlight right here, and it's actually picking up on some kind of the wrinkles in the lips. So we've got like little blotches of white here, essentially. So we also have some little blotches over here as well. Let me just select our shapes, and let's go ahead and hide those. Notice there's some little blotches of dark right in here. Again, picking up on some of the wrinkles here in the lips. Now, it might be kind of nice if we added a few of those here, maybe using our blob brush. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to that blob brush here. And let's go ahead and just kind of paint in some of these. I'm going to go ahead and grab, let's go ahead and grab white for right now. And I'm just going to come in and paint in a few of these specular highlights here. We'll just kind of come in and hit there, hit there. And if we jump into outline mode, or excuse me, out of outline mode rather, you can kind of see the effect of those nice little specular highlights that we've got going. Now, we may need to actually come in and do something like that here on the upper lip as well. So I may come in and just kind of paint in a nice little specular highlight, hitting that ridge there, and maybe that ridge there. Now those are a little bit big. I may actually come in and tweak those up here a little bit in between the lessons, but you can kind of see what we're doing with those little shapes. Now let's come in and grab maybe a little darker color. Let's come in and start painting in a few of those little darker shadows down in here. Maybe we can come in and paint some stuff like that in. And let's go ahead and grab the eyedropper tool and sample that. Then we'll come over and color that. A little darker, a little more saturated, something kind of like that. If we jump into outline mode, you can kind of see those little shadows right in and around there. So we'll just kind of come in and brush in a few more of those here. Maybe a few over here. Just to kind of give our lips some more body. So now we zoom out on that, and those lips are starting to really look pretty nice. Okay, so with that said, now we've got a lot of really nice features that we've worked on developing here on our character's face, but overall the face itself is still really flat. We still have kind of this flat shape right here that makes up the entire face. So what I'd like to do in the next lesson is pick up where we leave off here and begin thinking about how to take this flat shape and create the different planes of the face. Maybe we can create some cheekbones and some inset eye sockets and some of the other nice little subtle shadows that make this, that'll take this face from a flat two-dimensional shape into more of a three-dimensional form.